The screen didn't flicker. It just sat there, steady and unblinking, spitting out the address like it was any other Tuesday night. 187 PC, 1184 E, PlotStories EDSA. Priority 1. I didn't move. My fingers hovered over the MDT keyboard, close enough to feel the static hum coming off the tough book. Behind me, the dispatch bay was loud with the usual bullshit. Radios crackling. Guys laughing too hard at nothing. The smell of burnt coffee and old vinyl. Then I heard her voice. Crisp, cold, the kind of tone that doesn't ask questions. Diego's taking your unit. Val said. I didn't turn around. That's Unit 17, K44. It's assigned to me until end of watch. Not anymore. Her shadow fell across the console. I cleared it with the sergeant major. Hand it over. I looked up then. She was standing there in her Class A's, star-polished, boots shining, looking like she belonged on a recruiting poster. Diego was leaning against the doorframe behind her, all swagger and teeth. He hadn't earned that smirk. He'd been handed it. Same as the car. You serious? I asked. Val didn't blink. Move. Ethan. Diego pushed off the frame and strolled over, holding out his hand for the keys. Relax. Cole. I'll take good care of her. Her. Not the car. Her. I looked at Val. 3 years. 3 years of midnight shifts. Paperwork she didn't finish. Calls she didn't want to take. 3 years of her mother telling me I'd peak as a glorified secretary with a gun. And now this. I dropped the keys into Diego's palm. Don't scratch the push bumper. Diego laughed like I told a joke. Val just turned and walked out, her boot heels snapping against the concrete like punctuation. I stayed at the console. The CAD system refreshed. 1184 E. PlotStories EDSA. Priority 1. Possible 187. Female. Elderly. Multiple stab wounds. Advise ambulance. Dispatch came alive in my earpiece. Any available unit. Respond to Priority 1 at 1184 East 43rd. That's Martha Geller's residence. Signal 13. Possible homicide. My chest didn't tighten. My throat didn't close. I just watched the words crawl across the screen like they were written in slow motion. Martha Geller, Val's mother, the same woman who told me at Christmas dinner that I'd never make detective because I thought too small. The same woman who asked Val, loud enough for the whole table to hear, why she'd married a man who spent more time staring at screens than chasing collars. Cole, dispatch again. Sharper this time. You're closest. Acknowledge. I didn't answer. Cole, do you copy? Unit 17, K44. Status? I reached for the mouse. Clicked open the status menu. My finger rested on the drop-down box labeled response. There were 3 options. En route, on scene, no response. I clicked no response. The system logged it instantly. A green timestamp blinked once, then went gray. Ethan, Val's voice now, cutting through the channel. She must have heard the address. God damn it. Acknowledge the call. I pulled the earpiece out, let it dangle. Then I powered down the MDT. Not logged off, powered down. Full shutdown. The screen went black mid-sentence, cutting off whatever lies she was about to tell herself. I stood up, walked out past the duty board. No one stopped me. A couple guys glanced over, but they knew better than to ask. They'd seen Val chew through junior officers like gum. They weren't stupid. Outside, the air was dry and heavy. The parking lot was half empty, lit by those sodium lights that make everything look sick. I sat on the edge of the curb near the flagpole and pulled out my phone. The news alert hit before I even unlocked the screen. Breaking. Elderly woman found dead in South L.A. Home. I didn't tap it. I just stared at the headline while the screen dimmed, then went black. Somewhere behind me, a siren started up. Too far away to matter. Too late to change anything. I thought about Diego in my seat. About Val's face when she realized I wasn't going to play the hero. About Martha lying on her kitchen floor, wondering why no one came. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel righteous. I just felt quiet. The way you feel after you stop trying to fix something that was broken long before you touched it. I stood up, brushed the dust off my slacks, and walked toward the bus stop. Behind me, the station kept humming. Radios chirped, doors slammed, lives moved on, and somewhere in the dark, a priority one call closed itself out as unanswered, just another statistic. Except this one had a name, and I'd made peace with letting it die. They didn't knock. Internal affairs never does. They just pushed through the briefing room door like they owned the place. Lieutenant Gomez from IA, a tall, skinny guy with a jaw like a shovel, and some blonde from professional standards I'd only seen at mandatory training. Val was already there, sitting stiff at the head of the table. She didn't look at me when I walked in, just kept her eyes on the yellow legal pad in front of her, pen poised like she was about to take dictation. Gomez didn't bother with pleasantries. He tossed a thin file onto the table between us. It landed with a flat thwack. Explain it. Cole. I leaned back in the plastic chair. Explain what? Lieutenant? The priority one last night. Geller residence. You were closest. You didn't answer. You didn't log an acknowledgement. You didn't even key your mic. Why? I looked at Val then. Her jaw tightened. Just a hair. Good. My assigned unit was taken from me prior to the start of my shift. I said, my voice sounded calm. Even to me. I was on foot. No radio. No MDT. No jurisdiction. Bullshit. Val snapped. She finally looked up, eyes sharp and cold. You had access to a terminal in dispatch. You logged in. You saw the call. And you deliberately marked no response. Gomez nodded. The CAD doesn't lie. Cole, we've got the timestamp. 2:14, 6 seconds after the call dropped. I shrugged. I logged in to clock out. The terminal was already live. Someone else must have keyed it. Don't play cute. The blonde from Standard said. Her name tag read Morales. Your login ID is attached to that entry. Only your password could have made that change. Then pull the audit trail. I said, check the source IP. Cross-reference it with the terminal assignment log. Should take you about 30 seconds. Gomez frowned. He hated when you talk tech. Most brass did. They liked simple stories. Good guys, bad guys, clear lines. I was about to draw them a map. He tapped a few keys on his laptop. Morales leaned over his shoulder. I watched their faces shift. Not much, just a flicker. The first crack in the wall. Unit 17, K44. Gomez muttered. Status change at 2:16. From available to en route. Driver ID, Ramirez. Val's pen stopped moving. Diego took my car. I said, you witnessed it. Val, you ordered it. She didn't deny it. Just pressed her lips together until they went white. Where was Ramirez supposed to be at 2:14? Morales asked. I smiled, just a little. Good question. Gomez pulled up the GPS tracker logs. Every LAPD cruiser has one, supposed to prevent unauthorized use. Though nobody really checks unless something goes sideways. Like now, the map loaded slowly, pixel by pixel. A blue that blinked into existence. Unit 17, K44. At 2:10, it was parked behind the Southeast Division station. At 2:14, the exact moment Martha Geller was bleeding out, it was moving, but not toward 43rd Street. It was heading west, toward San Pedro. That's not right. Val said. Her voice cracked for the first time. He said he was patrolling the neighborhood. He was patrolling his sister's house. I said, 1129 West 38th, 4 blocks from the station, 12 minutes from your mom's place. Silence, heavy and thick. Gomez leaned back, rubbing his temples. Ramirez filed a false log? Worse. I said, he accessed the MDT after Val reassigned the unit. Use his own credentials. Deleted 2 entries from the activity log. Standard procedure if you're trying to hide a detour. Problem is, the MDT runs a mirrored backup every 90 seconds to a secure partition. It's buried in the firmware. Most guys don't even know it exists. You built that? Morales asked. I modified it. I said, after someone borrowed my cruiser last year and ran it into a ditch. Figured I'd cover my ass. Val finally found her voice. You set me up. I looked at her, really looked at her. At the woman who'd shared my bed, my coffee, my silence. At the woman who decided my loyalty was worth less than Diego Ramirez's smile. No, I said, you set yourself up. You took my car. You put him in my seat. And when the system asked who was responsible, it didn't say Valerie Cole. It said Unit 17, K44. Operator, Ramirez. You can just steal my ride. Val, you stole my liability. Gomez closed his laptop. Hard. This goes to the commander. Today, Ramirez is suspended pending investigation. Morales added. Effective immediately. Val stood up, slowly, like her legs weighed 100 pounds. She didn't look at Gomez. Didn't look at Morales. Just stared at me. You could have told me. She whispered before it got this far. I did. I said, when I told you it was my assigned unit. When I told you Diego wasn't ready. When I told you I wouldn't be your backup plan. You didn't listen. She turned and walked out. The door swung shut behind her with a hollow clang. Morales gathered her files. You're lucky. Cole, if that backup log didn't exist, I'm not lucky. I interrupted. I'm prepared. There's a difference. She paused, then nodded once. Get back to work. And Cole? I looked up. Next time, log the call, even if you're not taking it. I didn't answer. She left. Gomez stayed behind for a second. He looked at me, really looked, like he was seeing me for the first time. You're a cold son of a bitch. Cole. No, I said. I'm a consistent one. He grunted and followed the others out. I stayed in the chair for a minute, let the silence settle. Somewhere down the hall, a phone rang. A radio squawked. Life went on. Then I stood, adjusted my belt, and walked out. In the hallway, I passed Val. She was leaning against the wall, head down, hands shaking just enough to be noticeable if you were looking. I was. She didn't speak. Neither did I. But as I passed, I said quietly, you didn't just lose a husband today. Val, you lost the only person in this building who actually knew how the systems worked. She flinched, just barely. I kept walking. Behind me, I heard her slide down the wall until she was sitting on the floor. And for the first time since I'd met her, I didn't feel the urge to help her up. The house smelled like lavender and old wood, same as always. Val was already there when I walked in, still in uniform, gun belt on the kitchen counter, badge glinting under the pendant light. She didn't look up from the glass of wine she was twisting in her hand. You didn't have to come home, she said. It's still my address on the lease. I said, dropping my keys next to hers. The sound echoed, too loud. She took a sip, swallowed hard. IA finished their report. Commander signed off. Diego suspended without pay. I'm on administrative leave pending review. I heard. From who? Morales. She stopped by the shop this afternoon. Said I'm cooperating fully. Val let out a short, bitter laugh. Cooperating. That's one word for it. I leaned against the fridge, crossed my arms, watched her. She looked tired. Not the tired you get from a double shift, but the tired that settles in your bones when you realize the story you've been telling yourself doesn't hold up anymore. I thought you'd understand. She said finally, Diego's got potential. He just needed a shot, a unit, some visibility. Visibility. I repeated. That's what you call leaving your mother to bleed out while he parked 12 minutes away. She flinched. Don't. No. Val, you don't get to don't me. You handed over a patrol car like it was your personal Uber. You reassigned a priority asset because your boy toy needed a joyride. And when the system asked who was responsible, you expected me to wear it. Quietly. I didn't think she'd. She stopped, pressed the heel of her hand against her eye. I didn't think it would happen like that. Like what? Like a real call? Like a real victim? Like consequences? She set the glass down harder than she meant to. Wine sloshed over the rim. You're enjoying this. No, I said, I'm not enjoying it. I'm observing it. There's a difference. She looked at me then, really looked, like she was seeing the man she married for the first time in months, maybe years. You planned this, she said. The backup partition, the logs. You knew something like this would happen. I planned for someone to stab me in the back. I said, I just didn't know it'd be you. Silence. The kind that isn't empty. Just full of things neither of us wanted to say. She reached into the folder on the counter, the one she brought home from the station, pulled out a stack of papers, slid them across the granite. What's this? Divorce papers. Property list. Pension split. Everything's clean. I already signed. I didn't pick them up. Just looked at the top sheet. Enrich, marriage of Cole. Standard boilerplate. Except the signature at the bottom. Hers was shaky, not uncertain. Just tired. You're giving me the house. I said, it's yours. You paid the mortgage. I just cashed the checks. And the car? Keep it. I won't need it where I'm going. Which is, she shrugged, IA might recommend termination. Union will fight it. But I don't know if I want them to. I picked up the papers. Flipped through them. Routine. Sterile. Exactly the opposite of what we become. You know what Mom said at Easter? Val asked suddenly. Her voice was quieter now. Softer. Dangerous in a different way. Which part? When she called you a keyboard cop. Said you'd never make detective because you thought too small. I nodded. I remember. I didn't correct her. I noticed. I should have. Yeah, I said. You should have. She wiped under her eye again. But no tears came. Just a gesture. Habit. I thought if I moved fast enough, if I played the game hard enough, I could outrun all of it. The whispers. The she slept her way up jokes. The feeling that I'd never be taken seriously unless I acted like the guys. So you became one of them. I said, I tried to survive. Survival's not the same as leading. Val, you didn't just act like them. You threw people under the bus to prove you belonged. Starting with me. She looked down at the wine glass, ran her thumb along the stem. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Intent doesn't change outcome. Your mother's dead. Diego's finished. And you're sitting in a kitchen wondering why the guy who actually did the work isn't jumping to save you. She stood up, slowly, like gravity had doubled. What happens now? Now, I folded the divorce papers and tucked them under my arm. Now I keep showing up. To roll call. To my shifts. To the job. You don't get to make me the villain just because you finally looked in the mirror. Ethan, and every time you walk past my desk at Southeast, if they let you back in, remember this, you didn't just lose a husband. You lost the only person in your life who actually gave a damn whether the systems worked, or whether you did. She opened her mouth, closed it. No comeback, no sharp retort, just silence. I walked toward the stairs, paused at the third step. One more thing, I said without turning. Mom was wrong about one thing. What? I'm not a keyboard cop. I'm the guy who knows exactly how many keystrokes it takes to burn a career. Hers took 3. No. Response. Enter. I didn't hear her reply. Didn't wait for one. Upstairs. Ipek to bake. Not much. 2 shirts. A sidearm. The external drive with every log. Every backup. Every line of code I'd ever written for the department. When I came back down, she was still in the kitchen. Still staring at that wine glass like it held answers. I stopped in the doorway. Val, she looked up. You wanted Diego in my seat. Hope it was worth it. Then I walked out. No Islam. No drama. Just the click of the latch behind me. Outside, the night air was cool. Clear. Honest. I got in my car, my actual car, not a unit, and started the engine. The dashboard lit up. ZPet offline. MDT silent. No one shouting in my ear. For the first time in 3 years, I drove without a destination, and didn't mind one bit. The briefing room felt smaller with Diego gone. Fewer laughs. More side eyes. I took my usual seat in the back, booted up the tough book, and waited for the watch commander to start yelling. Captain Ortiz didn't disappoint. Listen up. We've got a pattern. 5 hijacked vehicles in 4 days, all late model, all within Southeast. Last night, they jacked a black and white on Imperial. Officer barely got out. Now they've got a fully marked unit. Plates and all, every patrol stays paired. No solo runs. And somebody, he scanned the room until his eyes landed on me. Somebody with half a brain and a working keyboard needs to tell us where the hell they're hitting next. A few guys shifted in their seats. Rook looked over his shoulder at me. Cole, you tracking anything? I didn't look up. ALPR hits are clustering along the 110 corridor, south of Gauge, north of Century. They're staging near the on-ramp, hitting targets of opportunity, then dumping the cars in Watts. That's a guess. Someone muttered. I turned the screen so the room could see. Heat map, red zones pulsing. It's a probability model. 84% confidence. They're using stolen plates to spoof the license reader network. Makes them look like legit traffic until they go hot. Then they vanish into the mesh. Ortiz leaned over the display. Can you lock down which ramp? Give me 5 minutes and access to the regional fusion center feed. He hesitated. Old school brass didn't like rookies touching the fusion data. But we were short-handed and outgunned. Do it, he said. I tapped into the Los Angeles Interagency Data Exchange, LIAX, pulled the last 24 hours of ALPR pings tagged as possible law enforcement impersonation, filtered by time of day, speed variance, and plate mismatch. The pattern snapped into focus like a lens clicking into place. They're using the 110 at Florence. I said, westbound exit, staging an industrial lot behind the old Pepsi plant. 3 vehicles confirmed. One of them is our stolen unit, 17K44. Rook whistled. You're kidding. Run the plate. I said, you'll see the transponder ID matches the stolen MDT. It's broadcasting a valid LAPD identifier. That's how they're getting past automated gates and toll readers. Ortiz grabbed the radio. All units converge on Florence and the 110. Suspects believed to be in possession of a marked LAPD unit. Approach with caution, I cut in. Hold up, everyone froze. If we roll in hot, they'll bolt. And if they bolt in that unit, we lose them in the mesh again. Let me handle it from here. Handle it how? Ortiz asked. Remotely. I opened the OEM telemetry portal. The one I built 2 years ago after a cruiser got stolen out of a deputy's driveway. Most guys thought it was just a tracking tool. They didn't know I'd wired it deeper. Into the CAN bus. Into the OBD2 gateway. Into the immobilizer logic. You're not serious. Rook said, dead serious. I typed, fast, precise. Unit 17, K44 is online. MDT active. GPS locked. Engine RPM at idle. 3 occupants. All doors closed. Ortiz stepped closer. You can shut it down? I can do better. I routed command to the telematics control unit. TCU, bypassing the standard GM OnStar protocol and hitting the raw manufacturer backdoor I'd reverse engineered during a quiet week in evidence. The system responded instantly. Fuel pump disabled. I said, ignition coil cut at cylinder 3. Steering column lock engaged. And I hit one last key. Microphone live. I toggled the cabin audio feed to the overhead speakers. Static, then voices. Male, late teens, early 20s. One of them laughing. Told you this shit was easy. Cops don't even know. I unmuted the outbound channel. Let my voice fill the car's interior speakers. Calm, flat, no anger. Just fact. Wrong car. Assholes. This one reports to me. Silence on the audio feed. Then scrambling, swearing, someone screaming. What the fuck? Engine's dead. Steering's locked. Microphone's hot. SWAT's listening. Here's your move. Exit the vehicle. Hands visible. And lie face down on the pavement. You do that. You get to explain this to a judge instead of coroner. A beat. Then the sound of a door creaking open. Footsteps. Voices rising. Then the unmistakable sound of tactical boots hitting asphalt and shouted commands. LAPD. Hands where we can see them. Ortiz was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. You built that? I improved it. I said, standard immobilization protocols are too slow. I cut the latency from 14 seconds to 0.2. Gives them less time to think. More time to comply. Rook let out a low whistle. Holy shit. Cole, don't holy shit me. I said, shutting the lid on the tough book. Just remember, the next time someone tells you a keyboard cop isn't real police, Asked them how many felonies they've stopped without leaving their chair. Ortiz cleared his throat. Cole, my office. Now, I followed him out, down the hall, past the watch desk. He didn't offer me a seat, just leaned against the edge of his desk and looked at me the same way he'd looked at the heat map, like he was recalculating everything. You're wasted on patrol. He said, finally, I like patrol. Bullshit. You belong in tech services. Cyber crimes. Hell, I'll create a new billet if I have to. Specialist. Tactical systems. Something that keeps you from getting shot while keeping the rest of us from looking stupid. I'm not transferring. I said, I'm not resigning. I'm staying right where I am. But if you want results, stop giving units to people who can't handle them. And stop pretending a badge makes you competent. He nodded slowly. Noted. I turned to leave. Cole. I paused. That stunt with the audio feed, that was cold. I looked back. Cold stops bullets. Captain. Warm gets people killed. Out in the hallway. I passed the stairwell. Glanced up without meaning to. Val was standing at the top, half hidden in the shadows, watching. Her hair was pulled back. No makeup. Uniform rumpled. She looked smaller than I remembered. Our eyes met for a second. Then she looked away. I kept walking. Behind me, I heard Ortiz's door close. Ahead, the squad room buzzed with radios and keyboards and the low hum of people who still thought policing was about who could shout the loudest. I sat down at my terminal, logged back in, checked the status board. Unit 17, K44 recovered. Secure. I opened a new script. Added a single line of code to the immobilizer routine / never again. Then I saved it, committed it to the master branch, and got back to work. The night shift smells like ozone and old coffee. Same as always. I rode solo, by choice, not punishment. Southeast Division's understaffed since the hijacking fallout. And nobody argues when I say I work better alone. Less noise, fewer egos. Dispatch broke the silence. Unit 17, K99. Disturbance. 912 East 52nd. Domestic. Neighbors reporting screaming. I keyed the mic. 17, K99. En route. The address was a 2-story stucco with peeling paint and a chain-link fence that had given up years ago. I parked halfway down the block, killed the lights, and walked up slow. No sirens, no dramatics, just leather creaking and my boots on cracked pavement. Inside, a woman was yelling. A man was louder. Glass broke. A kid cried once, then went quiet. I stepped through the gate, knocked once. Firm. LAPD. Open up. The yelling stopped for about 2 seconds. Then the door yanked open. Marcus Bell. Late 30s. Red eyes. Reeking of malt liquor and bad decisions. He filled the doorway. Chest heaving. The fuck you want? He slurred. Behind him, a woman, early 30s. Bruised cheek. Clutching a toddler. Stood frozen by the couch. 2 older kids huddled near the TV. Eyes wide. I kept my hand away from my holster. Didn't raise my voice. Step outside. Marcus. Make me. Pig. I didn't move. Didn't blink. You swing on me. I'll put you on the ground. You know it. I know it. But then your kids watch their dad get cuffed. Your wife spend the night at a shelter. And you spend the next 6 months in county explaining to a judge why you couldn't keep your hands to yourself. He swayed. Looked over his shoulder at the woman. She wouldn't meet his eyes. You ain't got nothing on me, he said, but the edge was gone, just bravado leaking out. I pulled out my tablet, swiped to his jacket. Marcus Bell, 3 DUIs, 1 domestic from 21. Case dismissed when the victim recanted. Probation violation last April. You're 1 bad mood away from a felony. And I've got enough here to make sure you don't see those kids till they're in high school. He stared at the screen, then at me. You threatening me? I'm offering you a choice. I said, walk away tonight. Sleep it off. Tomorrow, you call your PO. Tell them you had a wake-up call. Maybe, they give you 1 more chance. But if you lay a hand on her again, or if I get called back here, I upload every line of this to the DA's office before I finish my coffee. Understand? He swallowed, looked at the kids again. Something flickered behind the drunk. Shame, maybe, or fear. Hard to tell the difference sometimes. Then he stepped back, turned, grabbed a jacket off the hook, and walked out without a word. Didn't slam the door, just pulled it shut behind him. I looked at the woman. She was shaking. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me," I said. "Thank yourself for not lying about what happened. Next time, call sooner. And if there is a next time, I won't be offering choices." I crouched down to the oldest kid. Maybe 8. "You okay?" He nodded. "Mute. Keep your sisters close." I said, "And if anyone tells you cops are the bad guys, you remember tonight. Okay?" Another nod. Smaller this time. I stood, left my card on the coffee table, and walked out, back in the car. I logged the call. Short, factual, no editorializing. Just 10,953 PC. Disturbance resolved. Subject voluntarily vacated. Victim advised. Referral to DV unit. Dispatch came back. Copy. 17K99. Stand by for next call. I didn't move. Just sat there, engine idling, watching the streetlights smear across the windshield. Rook's voice crackled over the channel. "Cole, you good?" "I'm good. Heard about the bell call. Clean resolution. No force." "Nice. Thanks. Hey, Cap wants to revisit that specialist billet. Says you've got until Friday to decide. Tell him I already decided." "Yeah. What did you say?" "I said I'm a patrol officer. And if he wants results, stop promoting people who can't handle a keyboard." Rook laughed. "He's not going to like that. He doesn't have to like it. He just has to stop losing cars." I killed the mic, leaned my head back against the headrest, closed my eyes for a count of 10. When I opened them, the MDT screen glowed softly. I opened a terminal window, navigated to the directory where I kept my personal scripts, the ones that ran quietly in the background of every system I touched. At the bottom of the main routine, I added 3 lines, saved it, committed it, pushed it to the server. Then I shut the lid, started the car, and pulled back onto Central Avenue. Somewhere behind me, Marcus Bell was walking off a drunk. Somewhere ahead, another call was waiting. And somewhere in this city, someone was deciding whether to be a hero or a liability. I used to think the badge was about showing up when it mattered. Now I know it's about knowing who matters and having the guts to choose. Val thought I was weak because I didn't yell, because I didn't chase, because I let her mother's call go unanswered. But weakness isn't walking away. Weakness is handing your power to someone who will waste it. I'm still here, still wearing the uniform, still logging the truth while everyone else spins their versions. And I'm done being anyone's backup. Dispatch crackled again. New address, new mess to sort. I keyed the mic. 17K99. En route, and drove into the dark.